Monte Carlo Rally is 100 years old. And believe me, this opening stage this morning has been a very, very long one for a lot of drivers. We take a prisoners already at this one. There's our total for the event, 337 kilometers in all. Well, we've just completed stage one, 36.87 kilometers, and already several members of the top 10 have well, had a nightmare. We're just about to get underway with our second stage of the morning as we run through the resume of this entire rally from the 19th to 23rd, and we'll be covering almost all of it. There's 14 hours of live coverage here. So Monte Carlo, massive challenge, always was going to be, and this morning, well, unfortunately, if you were with us for the first live stage, an absolute nightmare for Andreas Mikkelsen. Could not get the wheel off after what, around about 30 seconds into the stage. Just a bad pace note, he said, and it all went wrong from that moment on. Welcome to the Monte Carlo Rally. It's been 100 years since the first touring runs ended in the Principality. Henri Rougier it was that took the prize then. He was a rich boy. These days, well, rich in talent is what we've got. Who will be crowned this year? Well, we will see. A battle about to ensue. It's already started, in fact, as this IRC season opener, the very event that invented the term rallying. Yes, Monte Carlo, what a way to start. Phenomenal turnout last night in Valence. The Drôme area absolutely alive with rally fans. And when you look down the list of starters, well, it's an absolute pleasure. Some great star names. Some have already been bitten, as you're about to find out. So there we are. Moulinon to Entrerières. It will be long in the memory of Andreas Mikkelsen. Could not get the wheel off after crashing early. We were live on board when it happened. Looked innocuous, but yes, unfortunately for him, he'd knocked the wheel so much they couldn't get the bolts away, and he actually finished on the spokes. Thierry Neuville, young superstar, unfortunately for him, he is out as well. That's the innocuous look at it. Well, bad enough, I've got to say, but look at that rear end. They tried and tried. We thought they'd changed it, but in the end, they came home like a damaged chariot. Wasn't good. Well, that was a warning to everyone. A loose surface of new gravel chips, if you like, as you can see there, kicked onto the grass, but a lot of it still on the road. We kind of feared for Guy Wilkes having to open the day, because effectively he was sweeping. It's supposed to be a tarmac event, and it's not gravel, but gravel there was today, and that part of the reason why Mikkelsen had his issues. Nico Vuillos got himself a front right puncture as well along the way. He also caught out then. Stefan Sarrazin, though, sent our benchmark out there in the Peugeot. Absolutely stunning performance by him. Johansson and his Skoda also very, very close indeed. It's only 0.06 of a second. We weren't actually trusting the timing screens when we got Sarrazin's time, because some very big names were looking like they were having a bit of an issue out there. Not so. Guy Wilkes, 20 seconds down, and that turned out to be a very, very good time. It's just that Hannanen and Sarrazin's times are just absolutely exceptional. It's a long rally though, this, and Guy Wilkes the best of the rest at the moment. Currently in third place. Everyone's going to have ill fortune on this rally. It's how you ride it, that's the point. Freddie Loix, well, they're looking very, very quick, and in the end, when we told him he was 24 seconds down on the leader, goodness me, it was like a balloon had been popped. He really took a big breath and said, that's a big gap. He was right. Here is Freddie in his blue liveried machine. Fifth place at the moment, 24 seconds down. Guy Wilkes sitting in third place, incidentally, 20 seconds off the pace. And Brian Bouffier, he is in fourth place, just a very, very narrow margin between him and Guy Wilkes. Peter Solberg 29 seconds down again. He was at a loss to kind of explain what the problem was. Said that he just needs to get into the rhythm, clearly adapting to a machine that he's not entirely used to. Francois Delacour, what a pleasure to see him driving here again. 35 seconds down is Delacour, the man who, of course, won this event way back in 1994. He may be 48 years of age, but he's looking very sprightly at the moment. Jan Kopecki, runner-up a couple of times. He's got a big couple of steps to take forward. He's already 36 seconds down. It's an enormous margin, isn't it, when you think of it? But, well, we'll see how we go. There's some very long stages here. Confirmation of how they stand then. Sarazan and Hannanen clearly just in a class of their own at the moment. Guy Wilkes leading the rest, but very close to Bouffier. Chris Meek's tip, incidentally, to do well here. And Freddie Loix, Fast Freddie, 5th place, ahead of Peter Solberg and Francois Delacour. Jan Kopecki is in 8th place. Bruno Magalhães, the Portuguese, is there. And Giandomenico Basso really doing a great job in the number 16 car as well. Got some help from friends, some gentlemen drivers kind of clubbed together to help him do it. Tony Gardemeister sits behind him. Peggy Anderson also, we were on board with him. There'll be plenty more onboard footage, and of course we'll have the simulcam as well a little bit later on. Jean-Pierre Nicolas will be explaining to our French colleagues exactly what's going on. We're hoping to have that again for you throughout this rally on every single stage. So, Beuzet to Saint-Martial. It's 41.06 kilometers in total. This is going to be a real challenge. It has a rise, but look at the altitude change here. It's going to be temperature changes as well. If we do start to get moisture, it seems to have burnt off for today at least, maybe this afternoon. Well, we'll be back live in a moment. Myself, Carlton Kirby, and Andrew Coley sitting alongside me. Guy Wilkes ready to go. We'll see you in a moment. Welcome back, stage 2 of this year's Monte Carlo. Guy Wilkes is going to be getting underway in a minute and 30. He's 20 seconds down on the leaders at the moment, but sits in 3rd place. It was a quick time considering he opened up and there was a lot of loose shale on the surface. Andrew Coley, what's this stage got to offer?
Well, in terms of road surface, it seems to be a well-surfaced road on the way up and then something a bit narrower on the way down. And I've had a text from Craig Parry, who's doing ice notes for Jardine. 99% dry at the top of the stage. The temperature dropped to -4. So no ice, but very cold temperatures. Yeah, and let's not forget morning mist as well can catch you out here. We've got a very abrasive surface, incidentally. Slicks with medium compound for everybody at the moment. We are hearing we will get for this launch of Guy in just a moment's time. They'll give him the 5-second warning where he'll just clink it into gear. He's in a very happy place at the moment because some big names have had some real awful luck. Thierry Neuville, we understand, is actually out, crashed out, didn't get a look at it. Couldn't get the wheel off Andreas Mikkelsen after he hit a... we're just getting some information on tyres. Loix and Hannanen have gone for medium compound and everyone else has gone for soft. That's interesting. This morning the Protons took soft and only 2 people took hard, Bouffier and Magalhães. Everyone else was on medium, so they've all gone for soft for this one then.
Here we go. Guys underway and almost a ginger start by Guy Wilkes. Yeah, just picked up the weight of the vehicle. It's on a climb, don't forget this one, and it will get faster and faster and faster. It kind of winds itself up this stage.
These are hard cars to start in, Carlton, anyway. 4-wheel-drive transmission, normally aspirated. You haven't got the turbo with all that grunt down, so you can't just break the traction and fire it away from the line. So, you know, slip the clutch, but not enough, obviously, to damage the clutch. So they're really quite tricky things, S2000 cars, to get off the line.
Yeah, and a little bit temperamental, and the last thing you want to do is get a stall just at the very start. So, Wilkes underway. We're running a clock on him right now, and hopefully in a moment's time we'll be able to drop in. I'm not sure whether we actually heard the pace notes being called by Guy earlier, by Phil Pugh earlier on. I think we did. Let's listen in. Well, we haven't got that line up and running, I'm afraid, but at least you can hear the engine squealing here. This is absolutely beautiful countryside, incidentally. You see some of the terracing here. Some mad fools actually try and grow grapes in this part of the world. The wine tastes dreadful.
That's the homemade stuff. I'm sure the appellation is absolutely outstanding. Guy Wilkes has had a terrific opening run today. We haven't had a chance to speak with him, but I imagine he will be reasonably content, considering his opening. He said it was just a great honour to be out there this morning.
He was really excited for it, the start this morning. He said he was relaxed, but he did say he was nervous, but he said he's always nervous, and that's a good thing. You have to be nervous to get the adrenaline, to get yourself in the right place to go and do this. But he's had good time in the car, Carlton. You know, the Skoda deal last year was all very last minute. This was settled a month before Christmas. He was having a seat fitting back in November. He's had some time to settle into the 207, and we know it's strong on tar.
Yes, we know it's very, very strong, and in his hands, to be honest, I'm surprised at just how comfortable he looks. He's made a change, a transition. I know it's been a big lead-in, but nonetheless, whoa, look at that. That's a scary, scary drop. I'll be interested to see just how close some of these guys push it. They don't look over the edge. They're too busy looking up the road. We see more than they do.
I don't mind a drop on the inside, Carlton. It's dropped on the outside, which is the really scary one. So, yeah, plenty about.
Yeah, there are here. Guy Wilkes then, just following him. Next up, it's reverse top 10, incidentally, as far as the seeding is concerned. It'll be Mikkelsen, who's had an absolute nightmare. They couldn't, incidentally, get the wheel off the car. It had been damaged. He's already on course, but we're staying with Guy Wilkes here.
Sixth gear over that little crest there, just a slight lift and in. Just watching on board now, downhill section again. Most of the first half is uphill, and then most of the second half is down. So again, we're going to see brakes and tyres suffering on the way down. We've had a message from Dan Barry, and they've said that they might need to bleed their brakes after this next stage. Very, very hard, these mountain stages, on tyres and brakes.
Well, we're just getting some news through that Mikkelsen is actually not at the start at the moment, so he's going to be out of sequence. He's clearly got issues at the back. I think once you've actually banged the bolts and you can't get it, it's more than just bolts, clearly, that are his issue.
Well, it was really only a tyre service, you know, so that means that only the crew can work on the car. Yes, they can take on new wheels and tyres, but, you know, they've only got the parts which are on the car. I asked Andreas' manager, they're carrying some suspension parts. They often carry a drive shaft. The drive shafts are usually universal around the car, but unfortunately, it is looking as though he might be out on day one.
Unbelievable, and so very early as well. Didn't even get a minute into the rally. It's a shame.
I think he was unlucky, Carlton, I do. I mean, if you watched Guy's on board, I did think Guy took the first few corners just that little bit easier. You know, a very mature approach. You're not going to win the rally in 5 corners, but you can't. You say that Mikkelsen was the only one to make a mistake. Other people had the same problems. Solberg, Vujas, you know, guys with a lot of experience.
You want a treat? Check this out. Sarrazin on a charge. Let's stick with him, shall we? Absolutely amazing. Through the dappled light, clearly quicker.
He's just smooth, isn't he, Carlton? If you look at his inputs in the car, very, very tidy. Once he's in those stage times, you know, if he really did feel comfortable on that first stage and feels he can push harder on this second one, you know, he could really mark himself out as a potential winner for Monte Carlo.
It's absolutely amazing. What a thing to add. He was best, I think it's been third, 2009. But he spreads himself quite thinly across a number of different forms of motorsport. But here he looks so at home. Look at this.
1 race in F1, 3 times pole sitter at Le Mans, now leading Rallye Monte Carlo. And this is coming up close to legend status, isn't it, I think?
I think so. He's kind of... I think because he hasn't won Le Mans, because he's been third at Monte Carlo, but it'd be wonderful if he could just get one of these blue ribbon titles. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Legend status already. Amazing.
I mean, let's not forget, he was a works driver for Subaru in the World Rally Championship. You know, works driver in prototype racing, F1 driver. Who makes it to the top in all 3 disciplines? It's an absolutely incredible achievement. You know, Sarrazin, I say, very relaxed this morning. Nice guy. Works Peugeot. Peugeot clearly got a lot of faith in him. They want to win their home event on the Centenary.
And Andrew, it's a relaxed approach. Even when he got to the end, he said he still had something in reserve. I just wonder whether he might just gently turn the wick up here.
If he does, the others are going to be in trouble, I think.
They really, really are, because he looks so at home. I don't know how much he knows about the locale here, but clearly not a problem for him whatsoever. Vujas about to launch.
So 4 IRC victories to Vujas' name, IRC champion in 2008. Only did this rally last year and came 3rd overall with 1 fastest time. So not to be discounted, despite the fact he had a puncture, unfortunately, on the first stage. So he's lost a bit of time already. But look at this, he's attacking.
Yes, he is. Everyone's going to have bad luck. I think actually last year's winner just came through it without having any problems, and it was the same deal for Johansson as well, second in 2010. If you can thread the needle, as it were, here, you're going to be okay. Sarrazin at the moment just looks so within himself. And look at that, already at just 2.75 kilometres. That's not a massive difference, a full second, and that can spin out. If he does this over a long, long stage, it looks well and truly in control at the moment.
Well, it's a third of a second a kilometre, and it's a 40-kilometre stage. Yeah. So, you know, if he can continue to do that kind of damage all the way through. Of course, on the first stage, we saw he was equal with Wilkes at the start, and by the end had taken 20 seconds away, so...
Yeah, he's just eating this stage at the moment, and just look at this.
What a wonderful picture.
Yeah, fabulous. The light is low, the sun is low at this time of year, so we really get these wonderful illuminated pictures. Nothing's bleached out. You get the colours even at this time of year, and goodness me. I know the picture broke up there, but this flashing light going into darkness as well, when you're coming into some of the wooded sections, they're not in leaf for most of these trees. We do have some evergreens, so it's not quite the same effect, but you get that sort of flashing, strobing effect. It can be a bit disquieting. You see how hard the retina on the camera's working here. It's the same for the driver's eyes.
Very much, yeah, but you sit really, really low in these cars. There's a very long sun visor about halfway down the windscreen, so you're sitting super low, have a very low sun visor, but certainly the flashing and the changes of light are difficult to deal with. Of course, they're going to have to deal with that on the classic colder Turini as well Friday night. The cameras will be out in force. There are spectators everywhere on this centenary event.
And just look at this as well. That beautiful sweeping shot that we managed to pick up there. All credit to the camera crew. And this is Wios.
Oh, it's Delacour. It's Delacour.
It is Delacour. Excuse me.
On Joras running the car, they are the same people that used to run him in the 306 Maxi. I went and said to him yesterday, who's running the car? He said, oh, they ran the 306 Maxi. The car, it feels the same as the 306 Maxi. He was very animated, his hands were in the air, he's steering everywhere, and, you know, it was just fantastic to talk to the guy. I think everybody feels a bit chuffed to be talking to Delacour.
Yeah, it's that Romania sticker that kind of gives it away. There's Wilkes' time. He's just gone through the second checkpoint. Thankfully, we've got the splits for you now at 12.24 kilometres. He's the first man through. Big handful here, and Andrew Colley getting extremely excited watching this man work.
He's manhandling it, Carlton. I'm sitting here, I want to see his face. I would look at this. I'd love it if we had a face on camera. He strains at the belts when he's accelerating, as if he's urging the car to go forward, and then he pushes himself back in the seat. If you've seen the classic footage of Delacour back in the days of the RAS, the Works 007, Escort Cosworth, oh, he's a legend.
And Sarrazin has taken Wilkes again, but Wilkes is holding station now. He's found his pace. It's 1 second the gap between the pair. I beg your pardon, this is the first split still, with Wios just getting onto the timings. Forgive me. On board with Sarrazin right now. Camera just ahead of him. They are shadowing this man through the stage, and why not? Because he is our benchmark, essentially.
Out of interest, 8 seconds for Wios over 2.75 kilometres. That's quite a lot of time to lose in 2.75 kilometres, so we'll just keep an eye on that for you.
Yes, we will. Do forgive me about that second split there. We know that Wilkes has gone through, but we're just waiting for Sarrazin to catch him up, and catching up he is doing at the moment. It's a remarkable performance as well by Delacour. Great to see him back in action, flat out from the very start, emotionally as well as mechanically, giving his co-driver a real earful out there.
So if this were icy conditions, Carlton, you know, this is where you can see the mountain problem, where you have ice down one side in the shade of the mountain, sunshine on the other parts, and the condition can vary so much. As we've heard, it's -4 at the top of this stage. We've got changeable weather coming in, possibly. We've got all the stages at altitude on Friday night as well. This is a very, very long rally, so nothing will be over, despite, you know, if Sarrazin runs away with things all day long today, I don't think he's going to be guaranteed.
Freddie Loix on absolute catch-up here. Look at this. This is a man who felt just a little bit needled by his time in the first one, and so he's opening it up. You can see it. The cuts he's making are even more ambitious here. Freddie Loix, though, is a genius of balance, and I think that's partially why he's just so fantastic when it comes to tarmac. He can push a car to its absolute limit and still feel comfortable, and he knew that he had to find something extra after that first stage if he's not going to get left behind here.
We're back with Sarrazin now, but what a fantastic season for Loix last year. You know, 4 events, Stunning. 3 wins on tarmac, came straight in. That's how he's got the programme this year. He is the most winning driver in the IRC with 6 event victories. He overtook Meek last year to take that honour. So
Well, there it is, the 2.75 mark at the moment. Delacour 3 seconds down, but quicker than Vuillos. I don't know what Vuillos' issue is, but don't forget he had a front right puncture in the opening stage. He's not carrying a puncture now, but maybe it's just been a bit of a wake-up, a bit of a warning to him. If you start not to trust any aspect of the day, it can transmit itself into times, and that's exactly what we've got. A little open section here. A nice little landing spot to the helicopter. I think that's where we actually were based, just with one of the birds that we're using here today. Stunning pictures from the Monte Carlo. Stage 2. You're watching it live right here on Eurosport.
Very different roads, Carlton, aren't they, from stage 1? You look at stage 1, narrow, twisting, barely anywhere where you could make a cut or choose a line. You know, you only just had width of car roughly. Here we're talking double width, well-surfaced road. You know, line is crucial. Getting the notes bang on is going to be crucial too.
Last year, this sort of stage was absolutely white, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You had snow everywhere. Haven't got that, but it is forecast. Haven't got it today, but it is forecast. Still at the 2.75 kilometre mark. Freddie Loix, 7 seconds down, despite what we thought. So it looked like he was going at a pace. Delacour's finding his rhythm here. That's great.
So far, the only Skoda man, we have 5 Skodas and 5 Peugeots seeded in the top 10 here. If you'd have put your money on any of the Skoda drivers to challenge the Peugeot tarmac specialist, it wouldn't have been Hannon, and he's the only one to come close to Sarazan.
7 seconds at 12.2 kilometres. That is enormous. Now, don't forget, they're less than a third the way through the stage. Don't look at the graphic, it looks like it's halfway. It's not. They've only done 12 kilometres. They've got 41, and Andrew Coley's eyes are on his cheeks at the moment.
Whitewash, Sarazan whitewash incoming.
Be careful, everybody. The snow poles here, which tell you where the road is when it's absolutely covered in white stuff and you can't see, are being used as markers here. Peter Solberg earlier on today was rattling a few of them, but Sarazan's doing exactly that, and wise is it to stay with him on this course. Phenomenal. Look at the vans, and what a treat. We just thought we'd let that run. Fantastic.
Fantastic bit on the limiter in sixth gear there for Sarazan. Very brave through the shadows, just believes in his pace notes 100%. Listening and just turning the car gently in. You know, not great line of sight, but total trust in his co-driver. So very, very quick indeed.
Well, we're picking up Vuillos here. Yes, a long time out of the car of Vuillos, and I think it's possibly showing itself now. Hadn't driven since the last Monte Carlo. He's been busy developing bicycles, I believe, elsewhere. You know, this is a man, though, let's not forget, champion in 2008. But look at that, 8 seconds down at 2.75 kilometres. We've already seen how far Wilkes is off Sarazan's pace when you get to the 12.24 kilometre mark. It's scary.
He's not short on bravery either, Vuillos.
No.
You know, he's a 10 times downhill mountain bike world champion, which is why he's developing bikes. You know, they haven't just plucked him from motorsport and said this chap would be good at bikes. He's, you know, and so you know he's gone back to his old sport. Skoda France have said we'd like to see you back in the car again for Monte Carlo. He's done 3 tests. He says he's fit, but as you say, look at that.
15 seconds down at 12 kilometres. There's 41 to do here.
Yeah, there's going to be some wholesale changes to people's setups on cars and things when they get the opportunity. They're just going to be making little tweaks, tyre choices maybe. People are going to be hovering around Sarazan's car and trying to find out what the secret is, why he's having so much pace.
It's absolutely remarkable. I think the other teams need to look in the kit bag, and if they've got a bazooka, I think that's going to be the only solution, because nothing is going to stop Sarazan if he's on this pace. He's looking so calm, he's looking so controlled. This is his rally at the moment.
Back on board with Delacour.
Léger droite, allez François, allez. Léger droite, 64 mètres gauche à fond long, gauche à fond long. 100 mètres tiens en léger gauche bref. Et 100 mètres droite 85. Droite 85. 50 mètres gauche à fond long. Gauche à fond long. Droite à fond pendant 100 mètres vers 95 chemin. 95 chemin. 100 mètres, lancer la pente droit. 100 mètres derrière léger gauche bref. Droite à fond, 100 mètres, droite en long, ferme 105, 112
Just looking at that second split along the way, and Sarrazin leading Wilkes by 7 seconds. It doesn't look too bad now, it seems. Delacour and Rios in particular. I'm just waiting to see what Hannon does, to be honest, because that's the only person that's keeping Sarrazin on the reins at the moment. And there's the third split. Wilkes has found some time.
He has. Wilkes is coming back at him. Great drive by Guy there. Still with Delacour, you could see super late on the brakes just a moment ago, moving the car around in the style which we became accustomed to, of course, when he was in the 306 Maxi and the 206 WRC. He came back, Carlton. He said after 2002 Mitsubishi, he said, I had two, this was yesterday, I had two enormous crashes. I wasn't enjoying driving the car. Fantastic through that corner there, just absolutely just bang on it on the exit. Tarmac legend. And he said, I went away from the sport, I came back, I've been racing a GT3 Porsche on some rallies over in France, and he said, I realised I needed driving. He said, I love this. He said, I need this in my life. He said, so I decided to come back. When there was the opportunity to do Monte Carlo, I can't say no. It's just great to see him here. The car seems quite loose, but he seems very comfortable with the way it's set up.
It's clearly the way he likes it. And just look at this, absolutely magnificent. Andrew Colley's actually just standing up and jumping around here. Yeah, Delacour looks like a 17-year-old, you know, from the back, albeit with the fantastic grey hair. Whoa, 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 whoa.
There we are, classic Delacour, super late on the brakes, car moving around underneath him. That was from flat in 6th gear as well, Carlton. But you're right, I mean, he looks super trimmed.
He does.
The guy
looks amazing.
Super trimmed. He's in great
he's got
shape.
himself into that condition, mentally and physically. He's really up for this. And the way he's driving at the moment, well, it could have been just pick your moment in history. There's no time at all, it seems, between 1994 and right now, because we've got Francois Delacour, and he's absolutely on it. Freddie Loix with an awful lot to make up. We said how deflated he looked at the end of the last stage. It was absolutely true, but check this out. Fast Freddie has found something, and at the 12.24 kilometre mark, well, we said he looked quick earlier on. It wasn't on the first split, but he's found it.
Loix and Hannon, don't forget, the only people to take medium slicks. They've said that everyone else, in fact, on the first stage, Loix had mediums. It looks like he's taking mediums again on this stage, whereas everybody else has gone for soft. Maybe he's made the right choice.
Clever boy.
The only other person, Carlton, Hannanen, the only other person on mediums.
Exactly, just about to say, and wait for Hannanen. He's the only one who can reel Sarrazin in, and if it's the correct tyre choice, it may just be the difference. Remember, there was only 0.06 of a second between them. Sarrazin's time looks like nobody was going to get close within 20 seconds of him. Hannanen did, and he's on different rubber, so we'll wait and see. Loix proving, at least with an early glimpse here, that is perhaps the right tyre choice. Sarrazin, Bouffier, and Solberg at the 2.75. Petter Solberg has picked it up here. They're running with it. This is great.
I think a few people didn't quite wake up early enough this morning, Carlton. They needed another espresso maybe, or a slightly earlier alarm call, but they appear to be awake now on this second stage.
Francois Delacour said to us 2 days ago in the service park, he said, you've got to go flat out early, but the most important thing is to make no errors early on. Wise words, and I think some of those guys who were still just getting into the espresso this morning could actually listen to that, maybe write it down and use it for another time, because yeah, you've got to wake up early here, on board with Bouffier.
Bouffier was fourth on the first stage, 20.8 seconds down to. He's only half a second behind Wilkes. Currently he is lying 1 second ahead of him at that first split.
Wilkes was very, very quick up to the second. He actually found back another 3 or 4 seconds, which was fantastic. We'll see how he progresses here. The profile of this, it's a classic hump in the middle.
It is up one side and back down the other. Little bit of dirt being dragged onto the road. You can see there Bouffier just runs slightly wide.
Loix 2 seconds quicker than Sarrazin and Bouffier at this point, 9 seconds quicker than Guy Wilkes. That's an enormous margin. This could be good enough to put Loix potentially into third place, and you never know. It's a very, very long stage, this. He may well even be knocking on the door of the leaders.
He dropped 24.1 seconds to come fifth on the first stage, but yeah, I mean, definitely Wilkes and Bouffier were only just ahead of him in fourth and third, only 5 seconds ahead of him.
Yeah, we just had a rack from that final split. Still Wilkes in second place, 4 seconds down on that last intermediate before we get to the finish. But it's a long, long run to the finish. 41 kilometres in total. It must feel long as well to a rally driver as a stage here.
Yeah, it does, definitely. I mean, you know, anything up to 10 miles is cool, and then once you start to get above 10 miles, when you start getting up towards 18, I know we're in kilometres here, but 18 miles, 25 miles, you know, that is very, very long stages. You're waiting, you're asking your co-driver how much further sometimes.
That progress by Loix there was absolutely remarkable. See how far he was down? What has he found? Stunning.
That's that section on the limiter there where we were on board with Delacour earlier on, and I think Sarazan before that as well, so all through there.
You can see just how much more committed. I know we were on board and you couldn't quite get the same view, but just how committed Delacour appeared to be going into that. Scary stuff. Wonderful. Coming through this little village onto a rise here. The crowds have turned up yet again, as they will, and glad to have your company live here in Eurosport. Don't forget, for stages 3 and 4 today, we'll be switching to Eurosport International if you happen to be watching on Eurosport 2. If you're in the Asia Pacific zone, then a very good evening to you. Hope you're enjoying this. It's wonderful stuff here live at the Centenary Monte Carlo, and just look at the scenery here. Not a hint of snow just yet, but it is on the cards, the weather cards that is. On board with Kopecky.
So Kopecky was 8th on the first stage. Not a great run for the guy who's supposed to be going for the championship for Skoda this year. Juha Hänninen has signed for Red Bull Skoda in the SWRC with Raymond Baumschlager Racing. So he's not going to be around, he says, for all of the season. I spoke to him at the press conference last night. He said he'd like more events, but Kopecky is the guy who this year they're going to focus on. They'd like a home driver to win the championship in his home car.
Well, we'll see how he goes. At the moment, he's got a bit of a deficit, but then again, we said that about Freddie Loix.
There's a long way to go, Carlton. This is a very long rally. It's 3 days, 4 stages today, 4 tomorrow, 5 on Friday. Only the top 60 will join us for the 4 runs over the mountain stages on Friday night. The only stage which isn't live on Eurosport is stage 9 on Friday morning.
Because we're transitioning, getting ourselves down to Monte Carlo, so you are missing virtually nothing. If you just keep it with Eurosport here. We had groundbreaking coverage last year. Petter Solberg, incidentally, stopped to give us a lot of credit for that. Camera at the finish, and it's Guy Wilkes coming in. So this is going to be our benchmark time, is it?
That's Guy first on the road, First on the road, be looking forward to seeing what he gets. We're going to get a refresh going on the timing screens to see, and hopefully we're going to have a chat with Guy and find out how things went. Of course, as you say, Carlton, he was making up time on the second half of the stage. Be interesting to see if he felt that was the same in the car.
Already been through the timing gates, and comes to a halt for us. Now, we didn't get much of a hear from him after the first stage.
Okay,
what about now?
What do you mean? What happened? You were slowing down? What happened in the stage?
No, we weren't slowing down. Somebody's going faster, no? Who's going fast, Stefan? Yeah, but it was okay. We took, okay, in the damp places, I backed off quite a bit, but rally is just starting.
All right.
Part about where the timing gate was.
Yeah, certainly either that or maybe a look at the first split and thought he was losing time and hasn't seen that second one that we've seen. But we won't know until they reach the end of the stage just how this pans out. And it shows you how much the balance can tilt just within one stage. A great start, a bad start.
Absolutely remarkable. It's pivoting at the moment, and it is heading the way of Freddie Loix. We're on board with Kopecky right now. These wide open spaces doesn't look very mountainous at all, but you see out there in the future, you're looking at the horizon, you're seeing some massive clouds, and we are hearing that Mikkelsen has retired. He's heading back to the service park. That is such a shame.
That's a great shame for Andreas on his first run for Skoda UK. Everybody at Skoda UK right behind him. Kopecky coming down now to the junction where they swap between the two roads on this stage and on the gas and away. But yeah, as we said earlier, he was unlucky. But it was just a shame to be unlucky 30 seconds into the rally.
Heartbreaker for him, and he actually admitted it was just the his own problem.
He said it was stupid, didn't he?
Yeah,
he said it was stupid.
Bad notes, but do you know what? He didn't even want to blame his co-driver. He just blamed himself.
Well, and, he may not mean a bad note as in a bad call. He may mean that he wrote a bad note on the recce. So we'll have a chat with him when he comes back to service, and we'll let you know what he says. But very disappointing for him and for the guys at Skoda UK as well.
Yeah, it's the season opener here for the Intercontinental Rally Challenge. We're just trucking Kopecky at the moment. Guy Wilkes has already finished. Almost looked indignant at the suggestion that he may well have been going slow out there. Guy found some fantastic time on the climb, and
just in the descent as well, down to the 41 kilometre mark where we have our finish here. What do you see?
Listen to Kopecky on the limiter in 6th gear up a massive, great big long stretch of road. But you can't gear the car just for one long stretch like this, obviously. But look at this.
Yeah, it's squealing at him. It's begging. There's nowhere else for it to go. It's just shouting at him. Listen. Finally, some respite.
Finally,
some
down
drive.
just knocking it down just 1 gear. But a very, very fast section in the middle of this stage.
Wonderful car as well. I know when they first came out, everyone was a bit sniffy about them. I said they didn't look the prettiest, but wow, the aggressive stance do the talking here. There's a 12.2 kilometre mark. Freddie Loix found an absolute hatful of time. Peter Solberg also as well. Look at that. Sarrazin down in 4th place with Bouffier 5th and Gardemeister Kopecky. Wilkes 8th, 14 seconds down. He found a lot of speed at the second part of this, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough for them.
Hannanen, though, 5 seconds up. Don't forget, he was level with Sarrazin for the lead at the start of this. We could be seeing the arrival of Hannanen as someone who is a serious threat on tarmac. A serious threat.
Well, at long last. I mean, what was the problem?
Little bit. You know, last year he definitely picked up the pace on the tar, but he will be very, very pleased with this indeed. I think he was kind of hoping for mixed conditions, which maybe he still feels suits him, but he has found something in this car which has made him very, very comfortable with it indeed. If he continues to the end of the stage like that, we're about to see the lead of the Monte Carlo Rally change.
Sarrazin comes in 4.2 seconds down
on Wilkes.
So
Wilkes takes 5 out of Sarrazin.
There you go. So yeah, not so slow. I think it was a timing gate issue. They were just wondering, just hadn't quite got where the timing gates are, so it's a long wait before they actually come to the interview point here. Burzet to Saint-Martial and Peter Solberg
on the limiter
is absolutely on it as well. Same deal. Here's Sarrazin.
Stefan, 4.5 behind Guy. How did it happen for you in this stage number 2?
Nothing special. He was missing Mikkelsen, so I did a stage, no problem, but very soft tire, so I was sliding everywhere. But security choice.
There we go. So went for the safe choice with soft tyres. Said he was sliding all over the place, which is why he lost time. Let's listen to Patterson here talking to Solberg.
Big moment for Solberg there, just as he turned in. The car just slightly sideways, but so these tyre choices then, if it is the case that Loix and Hannanen are on medium, and that was a risk, then perhaps they're going to be the quickest guys through here, and maybe Sarrazin will rue that safe choice.
I think so. When's the next change possibility?
I think it's after this stage, but I'll have a look through the schedule for you.
Well, that will be fascinating because it's an advantage that can be carried on long into the day. Don't forget, it just depends on when those changes are going to be made. Bit of snow patches here. That's at altitude. Doesn't look like much, but it's a slow and steady climb. -4 up here, so a danger of a little bit of ice. You can see how much damage there has been to the roads here. Let's listen back in again. Clearly struggling on the softs, big handfuls, and we're at the finish line. Well, coming in after Sarrazin, we didn't get Mikkelsen incidentally. He did not manage to start the second stage. He has withdrawn from the rally, unfortunately. I suspect we might well see him in Super Rally, but Vuillos it is that we're waiting to speak to in a few moments' time. Still on board with Peter Solberg, incidentally.
Half long, tight early, open, extra long, open to extra long, 150.
Brave, isn't he?
He is. Brave or nuts, maybe a bit of both. Here we go, is Vuillos.
Nicolas, third time, 35, 31, 31 seconds behind the leaders. What did happen for you in this stage?
Yeah, we chose soft compound, and I need time also to get the rhythm. It's not so easy after 1 year without driving. It was quite okay this one, but soft tires, it was quite hard.
So again, people saying soft tyres were not the choice to make, and everyone has taken them except for Loix and Hannon. Having looked at the schedule, it looks like a refuel next before the first run of Saint-Bon-la-Foire, and then another tyre change before the second run of that stage late this afternoon. So we've got another whole stage to go through, Carlton, but maybe we'll see it go the other way, and it might be that the soft compound tyre will be more suitable for the next stage.
So 19 kilometres, that's the halfway mark. You're getting a rack of scores there.
Delacour.
Look at that. What a boy.
He's back.
He is. The old boy is back. Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? He's just bedded in beautifully here. It's Peter Solberg. Henning, incidentally, had a nightmare opening stage. If you missed it, lost over 4 minutes. Punctures, everything was going wrong. I wasn't happy with the balance of the car. In fact, I think expletive deleted.
He wasn't happy with his luck, was he? He felt he'd been very hard done by. I haven't hit anything. He was very cross indeed.
Exactly.
He got a puncture when he didn't feel he'd taken a risk. So here's Delacour steamed up on the inside from all that effort that he puts into driving.
Second time you've been pushing very hard on this stage number 2, right?
Yeah, okay, not bad. I am getting a little bit faster and faster. You know, I am learning the car as well, and it's not easy because the young drivers are going very fast also, but it's okay.
In this type of stage, you can make the difference with your experience?
I don't know, because it's very dry, you know, but maybe we will see if the snow is coming or the condition a little bit more difficult at the end tonight. I don't know.
That's where he's going to get his chance to actually work on his experience. It's that rolling of the dice for some, but experience for him, where he will actually he'll have the knowledge which he can use. This is amazing.
Very narrow section that Solberg's coming through now.
This is marvellous. Chris Patterson just keeping so calm there as well. 19.7. There's Hannon and Loix gapped by 5 seconds. I'll be fascinated to see how that spins out. Those two are on the medium compound, don't forget. It seems the choice of champions, by the way. Here we go. Freddie Loix coming in
fastest,
right now. There you are.
22.57.
22.57, our benchmark. Fantastic. Freddie Loix rejuvenated last year, had some success, had a lot of success. He was with a couple of rounds to go. He was a lot of people's outside pick for maybe taking the title. Didn't quite work out for him. I think he just basically ran out of events. But he is continuing that form this season, and it's great to know we're going to see a lot more of him.
Definitely 7 events, as we said, confirmed. He actually took his sponsor out as his co-driver on an event last year, a national event, not an IRC event.
Good idea, it worked.
Very much.
Freddie.
He'll be happier with that.
Well done, Freddie, so far. Fast Freddie is back on stage number 2. It's the fastest time so far by now.
So far, but there are some big boys coming behind me, so okay, I had a quite good feeling. It's a very quick stage. I'm always feeling quite happy when the stages are quick, so it was good.
Thank you.
It goes good. An awful lot happier that time by. He knew that he put something extra in there, made the correct tyre choice as well. We're on board with Hannon now, though, and this is going to be fascinating.
So it's cold, there's a lot of damp patches about, I wonder if the Ice Note crews have gone through, and don't forget they'll have gone through 2 hours ago, the leading guys Ice Notes crews. Skoda UK, in fact, we're going to make use of the fact that Tony Jardine's Gravel Note crew are going through right at the end of the Gravel Note crews, so only 20 minutes before the lead drivers. Maybe it was a bit icy earlier and they advised these guys to take soft tyres, but it seems that only Delacour was comfortable with the car moving around on soft tyres.
Well, most of these snow poles seem to be actually in the vertical at the moment, but I can't understand that. Maybe they've got a flexible base, because right now Hannon is actually testing the absolute limits and beyond of the road and seems comfortable with it. Amazing. Back with Pedder. This is going to be an interesting one. It looked like he's had a bit of a handful out there, Peter Solberg. I know it's soft tyres and all the rest of it, but the power difference that he's actually experiencing here as opposed to last year, it's going to have an impact.
It is indeed. Petter is in the test car for Peugeot Sport. It's the very latest specification of 207 S2000. Said he doesn't like this gear shift, the proper old sequential. He prefers a paddle shift, which of course we'll be back to in his DS3 WRC later on this year. As we say, quality guy, World Rally Champion. I think we can expect him to be on the pace, and again it's a sensible approach not to try and be on the pace on that first stage just straight out of the box.
Absolutely. Here comes Bouffier,
13.9 down in third.
Yes, the French Rally Champion went well in the first
Brian, third
stage.
13.9 seconds behind. How did he go for you this stage?
You know, I did a mistake with the tires. We thought it was going to be humid, and finally it was close to full dry. So okay, I have to accept it. It's my fault. Okay.
All right, thank you very much indeed.
There you go. Thought it was going to be a little bit humid.
So yeah, he thought it was going to be damper than it was. So the Ice Note crews have gone through, said it's very, very damp in here. It's dried out in the 2 hours in between.
Amazing, isn't it? A little bit of sunshine as we just hooked past midday here. It's not necessarily going to dry out the shadowed bits, but it dries the air above, and that essentially just takes the moisture away.
Perfect illustration of it there. Bridges as well you have to watch out for. We've got the airflow going underneath. The temperature can be different by 4 or 5 degrees. That particular part won't dry or won't thaw.
Kopetsky's time, and there is Freddie Leux's benchmark at the moment, 22:57.5, and he's not there yet. Got the red ribbon telling him that they are approaching the timing gates. It's going to be half decent, this though.
It's not bad at all. 11 seconds down, second place.
Kopetsky finds some pace. He was 36 seconds down on the lead time, don't forget, in the first stage.
Yeah, he was 8th.
Yeah, he was. We'll see how that stands up.
We don't know how many spares these guys have got on board, of course, so they're all saying they're on softs now. We don't know what they've taken. They got to do that first run of Saint Bonnet-le-Foy this afternoon, so it'll be maybe some of them will have, if the snow is forecast, then maybe some will have a pair of studs in the back. Maybe they might have a different pair of compound tyres. We'll try and find out in the break between the stages.
Well, here we are at Saint Martial, a lovely lake and a little spa town on the edge.
Second time, 11 seconds
Here we
behind
go.
Freddy. It seems to be a Skoda stage until now.
Yes, but still, okay, if I compare our time, it's, I don't know, still it's not good, you know, because the feeling in the car is quite fine, but the time is not so fine, so I need to think a little bit where I'm losing the time, so we will see.
All right, thank you.
Interesting. Remain circumspect as to what the reason is.
That's the hardest.
A whole raft of reasons. That is, because you don't know what to fiddle with.
He says the feeling is good in the car, and I need to think about where I'm losing the time, and he will. He'll go away, think about it, think, you know, am I lacking confidence somewhere? Maybe have a chat with his co-driver, the engineers, and just see if there's a small change they can make. On board with Solberg again.
Just very briefly on Kopetsky, I think 36 seconds down was a rude awakening for him. He probably thought to himself, how on earth could I be 36 seconds down when I'm actually feeling comfortable? And he's actually still asking those questions.
Fastest for Solberg. There we are. Fastest for Solberg. Oh, in the 2:07. He's got his head around the car. 2.8 seconds quicker.
Well, Hollywood's back, and well, we'll see how it stands up. He's still got, don't forget, Johanan to come through here. Let's listen and see if we can get anything from them. That's fantastic.
He'll often give a little bit of feedback, Solberg, when he comes over the finish line, just says what he thinks, whether he thought it was good or bad, maybe swears a bit, you know.
Yeah, I actually like him for that. He's a bit of an open book in these circumstances. He's usually still very, very much on it in his mind. Let's have a listen.
Looking immediately at the time board over on the right hand side, that's what he's looking at. He seems staring at the screen. He wants to know if he's on the pace. He's not interested in the interview. Am I on the pace? He's just checked the time with Chris. No.
Don't forget, 29 seconds down after the first run, so that's what he's thinking. What's Hanlon doing?
Now he's trying to work out how long it's going to take to catch up.
Until now, by now, well done.
Hanlon is coming back and he's fast, you know, but you have to remember I haven't driven the car on the dry before, you know, just in the wet, so my car was very, very soft this morning, so but it's different, you know. But it's really good fun, but I just have to learn to get into the rhythm properly with it. But they help to stiffen it, but I'm still too soft, so.
There you are, just have to work it too hard. You saw how busy he was. Here comes Hannanen. You want busy? Check this out. Target time for Hannanen.
Waiting for the timing screens to update, I'm afraid, Carlton.
Well, we'll get it right now.
But there we are. 15.1.
15.1 seconds.
Enormous.
Absolutely vast. And that has opened up a chasm in this year's Monte Carlo after just 2 stages. Hannanen, don't forget, second quickest by just 0.06 of a second. But you compare him right now
to Sarrazin, 36 seconds down, and Hannanen was 20 up on the first one. He's just blown them away.
It's the top table tonight.
Well, IRC champion Carlton, what can you say about this guy? Heading for the SWRC, heading pretty much wherever he wants to go. Fantastic drive, absolutely fantastic. Last year we were told, if you remember, by Lassie Lampi, I think Tommy Mäkinen said Hannanen will be the next Mäkinen, and it is starting to look that way.
Best time so far. You had to do something big on this stage number 2.
Oh, I didn't do any big. I just said to Mikko that I'm quite sure that no one is coming faster that last downhill. It was good attack, good rhythm, so I let it come. It was quite a little bit more slippery, so I think it was better. Car is behaving very well now, very good.
Well, it's a very hard stage, very long as well.
But with this good car, it doesn't feel so long.
Everything you could possibly want. A PR man's dream. He does the business. He's so cool about it. And just, you know what? Everything is just with him at the moment. He has everything he needs to do the job. They give him the tool. He's using it. He's beating everyone else with it as well. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. We are still quaking in our boots here because we're in the presence of greatness. Johan Hannanen has absolutely wiped the floor with everybody. We're just discussing some old Tommy Mäkinen quotes and saying how almost matched by Johan Hannanen in that regard.
Very much there at the end. Just the look on his face and the sort of fake gear stick changing on that downhill section. I don't think anybody will be any faster. That's exactly the kind of thing that the great Tommy, of course, he was a bit of a Monte Carlo legend himself, used to say. So maybe the crown is being passed on to Hannanen.
What was the old quote? He said, if
somebody is going faster than
they are going very fast.
Indeed. A chat we had in the bar only last night.
Wonderful.
My favourite Mäkinen quote.
Well, Johan Hannanen, I think, is just maybe giving you your second favourite quote. Fantastic. He is a man who is at peace with his machine. We are looking at Bruno Magalhaes here. This is a guy who's now described as experienced, I suppose. 30 years of age, the lad from Lisbon. Got his maiden IRC win last year in the Azores. And been expecting a lot more of him, frankly, earlier on. I'm kind of now settling into where he is.
Well, he had a massive shunt, didn't he, Madeira? Do you remember? An absolutely monster shunt on a hairpin right. He then appeared at San Remo, but he ran out of money before the end of the season, which was a shame. He was the first driver last year. He was the only person who finished the first 7 events. Okay, wasn't right up there, but I spoke to him yesterday. Lovely bloke. And, of course, he's comfortable that there's no snow here. He is another tarmac. With a guy with a tarmac background, unfortunately, that's not a great time from him. That's not a great time.
Yeah, let's just be brutally honest, shall we? He's not carrying a puncture. He's carrying a minute deficit, and that's only the second stage of this rally. The gaps are going to be vast, you know.
He might be wishing for snow, mightn't he? I think Carlton with times like that. I mean, in fact, of course, his only win, ironically, last year was Azores, which is gravel. Yeah. So maybe he needs to switch his tarmac specialist title around to something else.
Yes, maybe. We'll just wait for him to come in, but I don't think it'll be a happy face. So it's Hannanen who is
35.6 seconds in the lead.
Yeah, give us the rundown as we've got it.
So we have Hannanen,
I think, in third place,
35.6 ahead of Sarrazin. In third place is Freddie Loix, who is 6 behind Sarrazin, and then in Solberg has come up to 4th, just 2.9 behind.
Not a very good stage for you, I suppose. Nearly 1 minute behind. Not a very good stage for you. Nearly 1 minute behind. And then what happened?
Oh, nothing special. My tires are the tire choice was completely wrong. I have the soft compound. The stage is almost dry, and we lost a lot. Monte Carlo is that.
Monte Carlo is that, I think he said. Yeah, difficult. You get your tyre choice wrong, it's magnified. I'm not saying that those who have made the right tyre choice. Stefan Sarrazin, incidentally, is in second place. Holds on to second. He was leading, but only by 0.6. Freddie Loix, though, up into third place. just can't quite see what the gap is between them there, Andrew.
Loic
overall
to Hannanen is Loic to Sarrazin is only 6.1 between second and third, but it's just this tyre lottery, Carlton. You know, you can take a risk with your tyre choice. Effectively, Hannanen and Loic took a gamble on this stage by going medium. Everyone else went soft. If they wanted to be safe, they'd go soft and end up with the same stage times. For Hannanen, paid off massively, and the same for Loic. He's moved up the order.
Basso comes through, 41.7 down. Now, he got a very late deal, Giandomenico Basso. A couple of gentleman drivers, friends of his, helped him out. European Rally Champion in 09. It was a very, very late deal, this. He's had, let's not forget, 4 IRC wins. He's been a real supporter of the series for a long time. Usually he's in an Abarth Grande Punto, but he's got the Peugeot 207 here. And not doing too bad, to be honest, for such a late deal. To actually still be mixing it with some of the very big names.
And a big switch as well, you know, 5 years in the Punto, that car is going to feel like a real part of him. With the lack of money, he hasn't had the test miles he would have liked.
Yeah.
Staring at the time board just like Petter was.
Domenico, 10 best time, how did he go? That's stage number 2 for you.
It's very difficult for me. The first time with Peugeot.
So far you're not doing so bad actually. You're not doing so bad actually until now.
I don't know.
Keep going for the rest of the day like this with the same rhythm?
For now, okay.
Thank you.
Well, there you are, almost mirroring what we said. Check this out then. Hannanen and Petter Solberg separated by 15.1 seconds on that stage. Freddie Loix 17.9 down. That is just an enormous gap there. Petter Solberg looked reasonably happy, but was kind of trying to work it out what the problem was. In the end, it's down to tyres. He said it was just too soft. It was the same story for everyone else who's had issues here. Basso remains in 10th place, another 10th spot for him. 41.7 seconds, though, lost on that very, very long stage from Berzé to Saint-Martial. And we do have a simulcam, and we have Petter Solberg and Hannanen. Now that's going to be interesting. Because you're going to see not only the top 2 in this stage, but the difference between the tyres one suspects. We'll have Jean-Pierre Nicolas, who's going to be commenting on it as he watches it through, but I think we may well just let him address the French. In fact, it's from special stage 1 earlier on today. So we'll get that for you in just a moment's time, which is a bit of a shame. Now don't forget there was 29 seconds between the pair of them on the first stage. It's been a bit narrow this time by. So this simulcam is from Moulinon to Entraiges, and there is the sequence. A nice
same piece of road. Yeah, as before.
Same piece of road, and there they are, laid upon each other. Hannanen, don't forget, set almost the quickest time, just 0.06 down against Petter Solberg. Hannanen is in the Skoda here, Solberg, of course, in the Peugeot.
Interesting to see here. When you think what the difference was, Carlton, the fact that Juho wiped the floor with Petter in that first stage, 29.8 seconds. He didn't do any of it in this particular part of the stage, and that's what we were saying about this stage, how much your fortunes can change with your rhythm, whether the car comes to you, whether the conditions come to you. Right there, Solberg was faster. Somewhere else, he lost 30 seconds on the very same stage.
He was. It's amazing, actually. And you saw the drive that the Peugeot had just on the pull away there. As soon as he got just the smallest look-see. But, well, we're on the 100th year, and Lancia still the record holder of victories in the Monte Carlo Rally. 13 wins from the earliest, the Aurelia in 1954 with Louis, of course, and then the Fulvia in 72, the Italian manufacturer creating some of the most iconic rally cars. Sandro Munari drove the Stratos, of course, to victory 3 times in 75, 76 and 77, the punk years. Oh yes, and the 037 as well, very light 2-wheel drive car. Phenomenal. Walter Roll in 83 was the boy in the Delta S4, the generation, the last of the Group Bs, winning with Henry Toivonen in 86, and finally the Delta HF and Integrale, the most successful with 5 wins between 87 and 92. They really were the daddies, weren't they? They looked great as well. Just a shame you couldn't buy a right-hand drive version for the roads.
Lancia forever. Love to see them back. Great. Saint-Bonnet-le-Foire is next up, don't forget. We'll be live on Eurosport International, Asia Pacific. Don't worry, just stay exactly where you are. 1400 Central European Time, 1 p.m. in the United Kingdom. In about an hour and a half's time, don't forget. Just a chance for us to nip out to the service park and have a chat with some people on your behalf. We look forward to your company a bit later.